I've been wondering, how many of you have read manga or watched an anime? Please raise a hand if you had. Well, there's quite a few hands in the air, and you know, in my when it comes to me, these were those things that started my love affair with Japan. And from the very beginning, I was struck with the very ever-present significance put on work. When we think in Poland about people who study hard and get good grades, we tend to think of them as geeks, like such. And however, in Japan, it is the other way around. It is the people who work hard and get good grades that are thought of as cool. And I was really intrigued, and so I did some research on that matter. And as it turned out, the Japanese do some other extraordinary things. Well, as you can see on this slide. So let's start with education. Their educational system is pretty much what it is in Poland: 6 years of primary school, then 3 years of junior high, and 3 years of high school, then off to studies and work. But the curriculum changes somewhat. As I said, there is a lot of significance put on work, and it starts from the very beginning, from the first class. In the first year of primary school, students learn 2 alphabets, hiragana and katakana, both of which consist of 46 characters, making it 92, which is very impressive compared to our 32. But it's not the only thing they learn in primary school. Over the next 5 years, they learn so-called kanji characters. Here are some examples. One means government office, the other means day. These characters come from China, and they've been adapted into the Japanese language. As you can see, they come in various shapes and forms. And you know, as you've probably noticed, some of them are really complicated. But it's not that hard to learn them, because nearly every kanji character consists of radicals, which are the sub-elements. And you know, getting 2 of them together, 2 or more, gets you a new character. And you know, at this point, I started to wonder, how many characters do they learn at primary school, and you know, during the education? So here we've got a table about this. So in primary school, they learn more than 1,000 kanji characters, and going up to high school, it gets to 2,000 kanji characters, which I just thought was mind-blowing. And it's not only, these numbers are the characters they learn only at school, but students also read books and they learn new kanji characters there. So by high school, it gets up to 3,000 kanji characters. And you know, I was just flabbergasted when I heard this, and I thought that I should share this with you, because that's just extraordinary. But you know, that's not the only thing they do at schools. What's funny about that, their schools, is that from primary school to high school, students take care of their own schools, meaning they clean the classrooms and the corridors. This picture, maybe showing a group of students cleaning the corridors. But no, at this point, you may think that Japanese students' lives are pretty boring, because all they do is study and you know, clean. But it's not actually the truth, because there are many activities which are supposed to bring the students together, to socialize them. One of which is, as you can see here, a cleaning of the school. Students are divided into groups and assigned chores, which you know, brings them together somewhat. And also, these groups sometimes are assigned the chore of serving lunch to others, which I think is very character building, and it builds up a sort of sense of community in them. Okay, so you may wonder, what does a Japanese school look like? It looks basically the same, with an exception like this. These are the shoe lockers. Every single student has a locker, and in the lockers they store their outside shoes, and they change their outside shoes to slippers like these. What's funny about these slippers is that they aren't only used in schools, but you use them in every hotel and in fact every household. And what's even more funny about it, you use different slippers to go around the house and to go into the bathroom. That may seem pretty odd, and by this time I started to wonder, what do they do in these bathrooms? When it comes to washing themselves, first they have to do this in a shower, sitting on a stove, and only after that can they have a bath, which is pretty odd, but it seems really important to them that they are clean for their baths because it's a moment to relax and chill out. Okay, so since we're looking into Japanese lives, why don't we look at the social aspect of it? The Japanese society is centered around groups. When you go out to have fun, you always do it with friends. You never shop alone, nor do you eat alone too. Okay, so this is like a traditional Japanese meal, and what's funny about eating this is that it's okay to slurp, which I think is pretty extraordinary because, well, in most Western countries, slurping is considered very ill-mannered, but when you slurp on this particular meal, it shows appreciation for the food and for the host, the family. And there's also a practical side to it, because when you slurp on this, you cool down the noodles. Okay, so going back to the social life, a very big part of it is our jobs. The Japanese, the adult in Japan, he works. The only thing he does is he works a lot. But what's funny about their work is that it's okay to sleep while in your office. It may seem pretty extraordinary to us, but actually it's maybe not a common, but well, it's acceptable, because in Japan it wouldn't cross anyone's mind that you would sleep at work because you don't want to do your the work assigned to you, or because you're just lazy. The only excuse for sleeping at work is that you've worked extraordinarily hard the previous day. Maybe you've pulled an all-nighter or something. But there are some other things about working in Japan. The other one is that it's actually a bit rude to leave work before your boss does. And when leaving work, you say, the colleagues who stay behind say to you, "Otsukare-sama deshita," which means you're tired, you've been working very hard. And the adequate response to that is "Osake ni shitsurei shimasu," which means I'm sorry to leave you behind. I think this sums up the attitude towards work in Japan, and I think that it would be extremely beneficial for us to learn this from the Japanese. But I would just want to make one thing clear. I don't consider Japan to be perfect and flawless. I know they've got some they've got some problems because, for example, they put a bit too much pressure on their young ones when they go to college, and so the students don't have much time for themselves. But I think the work and all the stuff connected to it would solve a lot of problems if put in our society. For example, these clubs, they go to school, where they can meet other people who have the same interest and talk to them. The society, which is centered around the groups, would solve a very big problem, I think, in our society, because when I think about students who work very hard in Poland, they tend to do it alone. And if you have other people who work hard and want to develop their interest, it becomes very more interesting and just more appealing. And for me, it would be extremely enthralling to see young people who study very hard and who develop their interest getting appreciated and maybe invited into their social groups rather than being alienated from them. Okay, so that's my time. Thank you. Sayonara.